Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. What, were you expecting some kind of frog? Welcome back to my Doctor Who reviews, and today we're talking about Season 11, Episode 9, It Takes You Away. And this is another one in Season 11's strange episodes. I'm going to review this in 3 parts because I think there are 3 distinct sections to this show, and I have very different feelings about all 3 sections. First up, we have the initial arrival in Norway, the travel to the cottage, the exploration of the cottage, meeting Hannah, investigating the mystery of what's going on at the cottage, and it kind of ends with Graham's discovery of the mirror. And I really like this build-up. Okay, I have one quibble with this, which is just a little bit breaking and entering. I think if I were in a boarded-up cottage and I heard someone frantically knocking on my door, I would be inclined to hide from them. And then having them wave the magic wand and open the door without even saying hello, Homora. I think, yeah, the Doctor and companions here are a bit breaky-inny. I don't think that's a really... It's not. I quite like some of the comedy of the discussion of the sheep and all that kind of stuff, and the TripAdvisor from the soil, and I liked all that. But the actual breaking into the cottage just felt a little bit off for me. Still, once we get past that particular quibble, I think all the stuff with Hannah is good. I enjoy the investigation around the house, what is going on, what could possibly be happening. I liked all of that, and again, everybody got something to do. Graham and his cheese and pickle sandwich. Graham continues to be a hero. I could actually break this review into 2 parts. I could break this review into anything with Graham in it and anything without Graham in it. And the split there would be good. But we're doing 3. We're doing 3 parts, and I'm going to continue that theme. So, part 1, all the stuff about the cottage, finding Hannah, cheese and pickle sandwiches. There's a monster in the woods. There's bear traps in the shed. I liked all of that, and I thought it was a fun mystery with a bit of tension, a bit of suspense, building up to a really weird discovery in the bedroom of the house. And then we get into the second part of today's episode, where they are wandering around in the AntiZone, where they meet that strange guy Ribbons, and there's the flesh-eating moths, and I really don't understand what it's doing in the story. If the AntiZone had been a dark cave space that they had to travel through to get to the other portal, it would effectively have done exactly the same story beat, with less time taken up on it, and no real impact to the story otherwise. It was very strange, and very inconsistent, and raised a lot more questions than it answered. For example, the moths followed the red light until Hannah and Ryan hid with the red light in an alcove, at which point the moths ignored the red light and just carried on chasing in the direction they were going. That was weird. No explanation for Ribbons and why he's there. I have less of an issue with that. He could just be spontaneously created as a guardian of this space. But what about the 6-legged rats? Where did they come from? And given that Ribbons has clearly survived a very long time in this AntiZone, is he really going to give up his life by sacrificing himself, not sacrificing himself, being eaten by the moths anyway, just because of the Doctor's tubular? That seems weird. That seems like, I've run out of ideas for this character, let's just have him eaten by the moths. It didn't really work for me. However, I do have something of a fan theory here. I'm not sure if this is something which lots of people on the internet are talking about. I've not seen any reviews that I've looked at, but it's possible that it's all over the forums already. But is it possible that Ribbons is a returning character? I don't really have any strong evidence for this, apart from circumstantial stuff. But there is a character that we have seen before, that the Doctor trapped in a mirror dimension, and that character was one of their trademark things was they would carry around a string with a red balloon attached to it, which looked very like the red lights that Ribbons was using as lanterns. And the character in question is the character, a sister of mine, from Human Nature, Family of Blood, the David Tennant Series 3 episodes. And, I mean, we never saw the Family of Blood's true form, so it's possible that when Ribbons isn't pretending to be a little girl with a red balloon, he looks like that. It's a bit circumstantial, I give you, and I don't have any other evidence to back it up. But the parallel of the red balloon thing is just a bit... It's a bit of a weird coincidence if it's not at least intended to hint at the possibility. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was Ribbons sister of mine? And then, of course, we get to the mirror dimension, the false Norwegian cabin, Eric, Trinne, and then, of course, Grace. I do have a couple of questions about Eric and his presence in the mirror dimension, because for what we see happen, what he must have done is stumble through the mirror dimension, wander through the AntiZone without being attacked by Ribbons, six-legged rats or flesh-eating moths, find his way out to the other side, discover Trinne there, decide that he wanted to stay with her, then left, came back again through the dangerous AntiZone to his own cottage, boarded up his house, set the bear traps, set the speakers in the woods, very bad parenting, as Yaz points out, and then goes back through the AntiZone once more. And why, having got Eric to come through, did the I've forgotten the name of the weird universe, Slurtikin, whatever it's called. Why did it let him leave? I mean, if the whole point was to have somebody there to talk to, why? So that's weird. Why? But I'm going to forgive that, because all of the stuff with Graham and Grace was just fantastic. I loved it. I've said this many times. Graham is my jam. This is the best thing about Series 11 for me. Graham is a great character, played still surprisingly well by Bradley Walsh. His response to seeing Grace was not to go, "Oh my gosh, you're here, isn't that amazing?" It was, "Don't do this to me. That's not fair. This is something I'm really trying to work past, and you're just throwing it in my face. The loss of my wife. That's not fair." And he didn't fall for it. Now, fake Grace works at it a bit, and he does become enamoured by the idea that it could possibly be Grace. But the initial reaction and breaking free of it shows that Graham has a really strong connection to the real Grace. He knows that what he's got there isn't real. He knows that, and he reacts to that. And while he has a moment of weakness, he knows as soon as Grace says to let Ryan be, he'll be fine. He knows it's wrong and he leaves. And all of that stuff with Graham is just so powerful, wonderfully played. I love it. And then they banish the various people from the other realm, and we're left with the Doctor and the manifestation of this other universe in the form of a frog. And I have a sneaking suspicion that if I go and check the forums, I will find a lot of people saying they hated this and it ruined the show for them, and it was ridiculous, and it was jumping the frog, jumping the shark, jumping the frog. I genuinely think that it makes as much sense for this sentient universe to take the form of a talking frog as it does to take the form of a person. In terms of actually manifesting that huge cosmic entity into one body, in one being, the frog makes as much sense as a human. It just does. I mean, there's in terms of scale, it's no more ridiculous. And I just love the surreal whimsy of it. For me, genuinely, it really works. I love it. And the discussion that the Doctor has with the frog, one of Jodie's better speeches, I think. This is one of Jodie's better episodes again, I have to say. I loved all that. Yeah. And when we get out and Graham is on the hillside and Ryan calls him Grandad for the first time, we knew that moment was coming. I didn't feel it was quite as earned as I would like. If Ryan had been with them and seen what Graham went through, I think that moment is earned better. But what we got, I liked it. I liked that moment of connection between the two of them. Other stuff, just as my normal kind of rundown of Doctors and Companions and guest stars. Guest stars were all good, apart from Trina, who's a bit of a non-entity, quite literally. Companions all did a nice bit. I quite enjoyed the fact that Ryan has issues of abandonment and projected those onto Hannah. I mean, it made him quite unlikable in that moment, but I could appreciate it from a character point of view. Nice to see Yaz again doing police training related stuff. It's taken 8 episodes for it to come up, but it did finally come up in the last 2 episodes, so that was nice. And I say everything with Graham was just gold this week. It really was. And I enjoyed the Doctor's performance as well. That's it for me for another week of Doctor Who. Join me on Friday for a follow-up Friday. Don't know what it's going to be yet. Actually, I really don't. I'll think of something. If you like this episode, please consider liking it, or clicking the subscribe button, or what's the other internet things I do? Watch another video. That'd be a good thing to do. In fact, on that note, if you want to watch more about me and Doctor Who, click the box there. If you want to watch more about me and writing, click the box there. And that's it from me. I will catch you next time. Cheers.